welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass, a series of digital-first conversations that we do here on the show in our effort to ensure that every entrepreneur in every part of the country gets the opportunity to be front and center and to ask your questions live on a national platform directly to our experts. Tonight, we're bringing you a series of conversations that we did focusing on sustainability and why it's becoming so much more crucial for entrepreneurs to be sustainable and environment focused. What does green technology mean? How it's taking center stage? What are the big opportunities? What are the challenges when it comes to being a sustainable and an environment focused business? All of that being posed to our panelists tonight. Let me introduce them. Pradeep Krishnakumar, co-founder and CEO Zook. Chetsi Ahuja, founder and CEO Brown Living. Guneshwar Rao, CFO MTAR Technologies. Basant Patil, co-founder AltCo. I want at this point for the four of you to call out really the big opportunities and the big challenges, the clean tech, green tech space, as well as being environmentally focused and sustainable brands. And as part of that, I first want to talk about the role of the government. Now, when it comes to clean tech and green tech, we do know the massive push towards EV and solar energy that we're hearing on the part of the government. But for other industries, what more and what would you as entrepreneurs in this space and industry like to really see and hear? Open to all four of you. Let me start with you, perhaps, Basant.
The Indian government has been, like you said, in terms of clean energy and green tech, it has been promoting. But in terms of government of India currently doesn't really have a policy per se for plant-based companies or food tech, etc. We're not seeking any big help from the government like the European Union or America is trying to do. It has special funds. They invest into food tech companies, ag tech, etc. We are not seeking something like that, but something, even if we get some GST benefit, we don't get a benefit, but the category our GST slab is decreased. That will help propagate the pricing, etc. to the end consumer, and also help in reducing carbon emissions over a period of time, etc., which is also a national goal.
Actually, the government is set a goal of achieving 500 megawatt, gigawatt power through the green energy sector. And today, the production linked insurance is only limited to solar only, so not to any other, like in the clean energy sector. So it required to be passed on to them. And like what Mr. Pradeep says, the import tariff reduction has to be provided, GST rates has to be provided, and also the infrastructure is not there. Like for example, today EV vehicle, we were talking on EV vehicles, but there is no stations, the charging stations are available.
Also spreading the message through multiple government programs, right? I think that will also tremendously help nudge more Indians to adopt a more sustainable lifestyle and more sustainable purchases, both in terms of essential as well as on the non-essential side. So I think these are two things I would say.
Okay. The question is coming to us for Chetsi. Chetsi, you could answer this audience question and also perhaps answer the previous question that the other panelists are taking on. This one is coming to us from Preeti. She says, what is still not present and needs solutions as far as sustainable businesses are concerned?
So I think to answer this question specifically, there is a lot of, traction that packaging is getting as a segment, and 86% of consumption that happens online today is all packaging based. And I think to also answer to the previous question, that in terms of government policy and infrastructure, what we do need is consumption is growing in India. Whether it's through offline or online, whatever medium, people are consuming more. There is money in the market. There is investors sitting in the market who are, pumping in money in D2C brands and businesses. But we're not really looking at the infrastructure available. Whether if it's EVs, there's not enough charging stations. If it is, compostable products to be created, there's not a composting facility in India. Waste management for electric waste as well as dry and wet waste is not happening. We're at a very critical juncture where we don't just need policies of plastic bans and net zero promises by 2070, but we also need action and execution at the last leg. I would just say that, sustainability, and there's something that we follow at Brown Living, is a very strict framework on what we say is sustainable and what is not. Because there is a lot of greenwashing happening. Somebody might say that they are a green company, but how do you support that? Can we have labels that showcase carbon emissions of a product, for example? If I'm taking an e-bike around in my city, I should be able to see, hey, this is the amount of carbon emission I actually save by going on a cycle, for example. And all of this needs to be tracked, measured, and rewarded, whether it is in cases of tax subsidies, GST rate benefits, however that rewarding system comes back. But I think it's also important to, tax the polluters. It's not just about saying that, hey, sustainable brands should get tax benefits, but also whoever's creating that waste should also be taxed on the waste that's getting generated in the first place.
Okay, let me take my first poll question at that point. Do companies compromise on quality for cost effectiveness and sustainable products? Yes or no? What do our entrepreneurs think? And I want to pose that question to our panelists as well. Do you think perhaps in some sense to get that tag or label of being sustainable, environment friendly, green and clean, perhaps there could be some pressure as far as quality is concerned? Yes or no to our panelists?
I think it's the difference between handicraft and handcrafted. It depends on how you want to position your brand essentially. And if you think that you want to charge a premium for all the efforts that you do, and ethical pay is something that also is part of sustainability, is not in isolation. So if you truly believe that you do deserve your fair share of the price of the effort that you put in as a brand, there must be relevant quality and functionality.
Okay, the results of our poll have come in. 70% unfortunately are saying yes, there is a compromise on quality. 30% have said no. At least as a perception, that's an unfortunate state of affairs. Let me take my next question. This one is coming to us from Deepak Kumar. Even after the government has banned plastic, people still continue using it. How to restrict generation of municipality plastic waste in tier 2 cities in Odisha? Not just restricting Odisha, but if we can, and Chachi, since you were making the point about implementation as well, how do we ensure effective implementation if such policies are going to be brought in? To all four of you, Chetsi, if you want to take this first.
I think the simple answer is this whole sustainability movement has come from the people. And so if you want execution to be done well, you as a consumer should stop saying no if somebody's giving you plastic. That's the first thing to do. If you are at a roadside vendor, if you are at a shop, wherever you are, if you are buying from an online store, please tell them, do not send me plastic. And if they still continue to do that, there are other ways of venting about that. But all I'm trying to say is it needs to come from the consumers, and we cannot sit around and say that, oh, I am still getting it because this is how business is done. We have seen so many companies and platforms and marketplaces change because the consumers have demanded this change. And that's the only way forward. I cannot stress enough. We cannot wait for government policies to play and take effect. We have to start from home first and, ask for it.
Okay.
I think that's right. You can't overnight, bring across, some accord or law and say, we're going to ban plastic. Some states have taken it, but, there needs to be an ecosystem that is developed, number one. It needs to be, reasonably priced. The cost-effective solutions need to be brought for each sector. Each sector is very different. So I think, the entire ecosystem, education, cost, all these things need to be brought in. And the government also needs to play a role of incentivizing non-plastic products.
It's a constant improvement as a brand that, while there is a consumer ask which really pushes brands to make that change, I think as a brand also, and we do that even at Zoom, right? We still have a long way to go in our minds, right? And I keep saying we have to keep improving on this aspect so that we can get better. So I think a big bang change sometimes can be harmful as well, right? And brands have to step through saying, okay, what do we need to do next? But I think an evolution, as Prasanna nicely put it, I think that's what even brands need to adopt as they keep improving on these lines.
I'm going to slip in a short break on that note. Back in just a moment. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass. Another big trend, if I can call it that I do want to discuss is financing. Is finance easily available for companies and businesses which are focusing on clean energy? Clean energy, I know there's a lot of money coming in PEVC money, but for businesses that are focusing on sustainability, Basan, I do know that Alt, for instance, at least initially was bootstrapped. Have you raised any funds? Has it been easy? What can you tell us?
So we are in the midst of our first seed round, so pre-seed round. So, but across the world, including India, there is, the VCs and the PEs and family offices are definitely willing to fund sustainable startups. So it's not as difficult as it would otherwise seem. But you need to have a proper plan, and as much as importance that is being given towards EV or clean tech, there is, or even AI ML, if you look at the overall thing. So in terms of the modern progressive technologies that are coming across, equal importance, if not more, is being given towards ag tech and food tech as well.
Yes, Sunanda. We've also seen something similar, right? We raised 2 rounds of external capital, and every investor we've spoken to really wants to understand this, I think, and a lot of them are also adopting a sustainable lifestyle. A lot of investors I know in the broader community, whether they are backers in our business or not, are vegan today and understand the both the emotional aspect as well as the positives of adopting a sustainable lifestyle. And hence businesses are getting backed for this reason. I think this will even further continue. What probably an Elon Musk has done for electric vehicles, probably a lot of large entrepreneurs and investors will do for sustainable brands from India for the world as well in the coming years.
Okay. This question is coming to us from Sushmita Mohapatra. Very quickly, probably one of you could take this one on, saying all of our panelists today are talking about how businesses can be sustainable. How can we as Indians, individuals, ensure we are sustainable?
I think there are many ways in which you can start. First, I think the first thing you can do is do a dustbin audit. Nobody looks at dustbins more than I do. And I can easily tell you that once you start looking at your waste, you will start realizing where do you need to cut or where do you need to change behavior. If there's more waste in your dustbin, which is dry waste, which is probably not going to a recycling facility, first do that. If you have a lot of wet waste, start composting at home. If you have products around you that are made of plastic, there are so many alternatives available. You can check them out on our website, or you can check it on the internet. There are a whole bunch of marketplaces today. You can also start by stopping to consume something that you think you consume very often, like I did for my clothes. I used to be a shopaholic, and I've stopped that. And that has, made me very creative in, using that in my life. You could also do, just start with a beach cleanup, or if you don't have a beach around you, go to a forest and start plogging and start picking up waste. When you start seeing what all we see as trash around us, it'll change the way you think about consumption. So I really urge all of you to join one of your community events and go for cleanup drive to really see where all of this consumption is ending up and in what state and what that is doing to the world.
Great points. And I know it's not easy, but one must make a start somewhere. Let me take my second poll question then for our audience. And we'd love to hear from our audience. This is popping up on your screen as I speak. Will the pressing climate change require companies to accelerate their efforts as far as introducing clean tech and green energy is concerned? Yes or no? Pradeep, this was something that you were saying earlier, and I want to come back to that. And that's as far as the power of social media when it comes to companies that are, in the clean and in the sustainable space, and that perhaps is more effective than anything else. Someone who has used your product, for instance, or who is using dairy products, or someone who's using clean energy, who has a battery powered or an electric powered vehicle is able to say and put it out on social media saying, I'm doing my bit for the environment. And that perhaps is driving more change than anything else would have. Would you agree, Pradeep?
Absolutely, Sunanda. So when we started, like I said, we didn't know if there's a market for this. Yeah. Every time a happy customer has shared their experience of using a Zoop product and being happy about the fact that it's cruelty-free has energized me and my team to do more and more on that. So the power of social media and people putting that out really helps, our brand to sort of continue doing what we're doing, extend it to more products and more categories that we keep launching. So, and that is what has actually pushed us to do more. And with the power of social media, they can reach to their audience, share their experience, and that has tremendously helped us.
Okay. And the response to our second poll has come in. 100% of all of you who've logged in today have said, yes, pressing climate change will require companies to accelerate their efforts as far as introducing clean energy and clean tech is concerned. So much more to be discussed when it comes to sustainability and how businesses and entrepreneurs can focus more on the environment, but we have run out of time. So I'm going to start taking closing comments. As your advice for an entrepreneur who's logged in today, if you can call out the big trend or the big opportunity, this is a question to all four of you, when it comes to your individual industries, what would you like to tell them? Let me come to you first, Mr. Rao.
So presently, this technology is very new. The fuel cell technology, we are working with one of the customer in USA. So we are into the hydrogen units. We are into the hydrogen units now. Electrolyzers we are making. So the entire value chain from the start to the end to generate power, everything should be like green energy. And like today, some of the the end product generating electricity may be green. The process of making electricity may not be green. It may be brown or gray energy. So we need to work on these areas, so that there is ample opportunities in many governments, even India also wanted to be net zero emissions by 2070. Even our Prime Minister of India also announced the energy policy recently. So there is ample opportunities. The market is very huge, and we need to work in the innovation, the technology, artificial intelligence. These areas we need to work so that it will be sustainable.
Chetsi, even while you're responding to that, there's a question that's coming for you from our audience. So let me try and squeeze this in. Preeti has sent a repeat question saying, do you think that companies taking back their waste is viable? For instance, taking back containers, etc. And that's a good question. Waste disposal, something that we haven't touched upon.
So I think it's counterproductive when you look at the energy efficiency of the product, because to create that container, there is some amount of energy that has been used already, which has a carbon emission. Then it has traveled to you, and then once you've done using it, it needs to go back and travel again and then go into recycling. It's a very high energy inefficient way to do it. But there are, lots of people doing it. And I think there is going to be difficulty to reach scale if the supply chain is not properly in place. I think that's one of the larger challenges here as well. But if we are able to do that at scale with bringing economics of accessibility, making it more affordable, recycling centers and infrastructure coming in, then that can definitely be helpful, because then you're not bringing more new resources into the system.
Let me come to you then, Masan. Based on your personal experience, what advice would you want to leave our entrepreneurs with?
So, we as a company, we, started off with certain products and grew slowly in this sector. So we see the Indian market, the per capita income over the next few years is going to double, and consumers are very conscious about sustainability, etc. As long as you get your taste, nutrition, quality, etc. under control and play a slow and steady game, I think, India is going to be a very good market over the next couple of years, as long as you don't compromise on the key R&D, your taste, nutrition, and also your sustainable goals.
Okay, Pradeep, I'm going to give you the last word.
So I think as entrepreneurs, the first and most important ingredient is optimism, right? We always say that be optimistic. India is a massive market. Indians are aspirational. What we need to give them is, when you're doing sustainable products, still give them the quality that they aspire for and the pricing that they aspire for. I think both of those are key ingredients, along with the sustainable aspect of your product, will make your brand work. And there is a large market to be built, a large space to be built out here.
There is, of course, so much more to be discussed, but an effort has been made, including on today's masterclass, in terms of addressing where the opportunities are and what the challenges are. And I want to thank the four of you for taking the time to join us today. All right. Completely out of time then on this masterclass focusing on sustainability and green and clean technology. For more on how you perhaps could also continue focusing on being environmentally conscious, do remember that our contact details are coming up on your screens as we speak. There's also information on what we're doing in our next few masterclasses. You can head on over to our website for that. For now, it's good night. Thanks for watching.